Hello guys, it is Ben again, back with another video. God, sounds so cringe, but you got to do it to start this YouTube thing. Today, the topic we're going to be discussing is what is the best way and the best beginner model to start making money online. Now, I've probably been in your shoes. If you're watching this, then you're probably a beginner and you haven't started a business, you haven't made money online yet, which is fine. So I know exactly how you're feeling. You've probably watched shit tons of YouTube videos like this, like what's the best thing to do, what's the best thing to start. And I just want to preface this by saying, like, pretty much all online businesses work, all ways to make money work. Now, obviously, look, you don't want to go down the whole pyramid scheme kind of scammy route, obviously, for obvious reasons, but all the different models, whether that's trading, whether that's high ticket sales, whether that's e-commerce, Amazon FBA, like all of them work. Like, people make money from all of them or they wouldn't be a thing, right? So that's just something you need to know, is all of these models work. It's just a case of you putting in the effort and the time to get there, right? Where most people go wrong is they will try e-commerce for 2 weeks, they won't see any results. They'll try high ticket sales for 2 weeks, they won't see any results. They'll quit, they'll try something new. They end up just going in this vicious cycle where they never get to where they want to go. Now, if you've watched any of my content, that you know that you have to go through the eating shit phase, right? I like to talk about it a lot, but it's true. You have to go through that phase where you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're risking everything, you're unsure whether it's going to work, everything's a bit stressful, right? That's part and parcel of making money online, because if it were easy, then everyone would do it, right? You have to go through that shit phase. So just want to preface by saying everything works. It's just a case of finding the right fit for you. And when you do find the right fit, you go all guns blazing, you have tunnel vision, and you just focus on it for at least 6 months, right? Because if you don't focus and you don't put in the effort, then I can't help you and no one can help you. Right, so get that in your head first, but before you start. Now, secondly, who the fuck am I, and why should you listen to me about any of this, right? So this is, well, we'll get into that later, but I've done a lot of these models, right? The models we're going to be talking about today are the main ones, in my opinion: high ticket sales, e-commerce, starting an agency, and trading, right? Those are the four of the biggest models that I was looking into before I got involved in this. So I've done arguably two of these 100%. I've had my own Amazon business. These are the results here. I've done over 5 figures on Amazon selling my own product. This is the product here. This is the product here that I've sold. It's a jaw exerciser. So yeah, the proof's in the pudding. I have actually done this. And then I've also got this award here as well. When I hit 10K, this was from one of the mentors that I worked with. So I have actually... Fucking hell, give me a second. I have actually done this. So I've been in your shoes and I've tried Amazon, and Amazon's good. Like, it worked. It clearly worked for me. It's a good business model to have. My light's just gone. Brilliant. It's a good business model. But in my opinion, there's better. But again, just want to show you the receipts that I've actually tried this. And secondly, high ticket sales, right? These are some receipts. Again, deals that I've closed. I just tried to grab a few. 5K deal, closer, Ben P. This was a 5K deal split across 3 months. We've got a 5K deal there. We've got a 5K deal. Right. So again, proofs in the pudding. Group chat here. People talking about the business owners I work for, talking about my closes. Another close from Benny. Crikey, nice work, Ben. And then again, you come down here. These are some photos of me actually with the people that I've worked for. So this is Will. He runs an e-commerce coaching brand. So I actually met him in person. That's us together on a boat, having a few drinks in Montenegro, which was cool. And then this is me with my other offer owners, Alex and Jansen. I've worked for them for a while. That's a photo of us a bit worse for wear in Ibiza when they took me on a trip there after the work that I had done for them. So look, I'm not bullshitting. I've done this. I've been there. I've done that. I've got the receipts to show for it. So yeah, this is why you should at least give me a chance and listen to this video. So let's dive into it, actually, the nuts and the bolts of it. Now, look, this isn't going to be some fancy video with tons of editing. It's going to be pure value, no bullshit, straight to the point, and really giving my honest view on this. As I said, I've been there and I've done it. So firstly, let's start with high ticket sales, my favorite. So as you probably would have guessed. So high ticket sales, firstly, positives, right? Why is high ticket sales, in my opinion, one of the best business models to start as a beginner? So firstly, is you are focusing on one skill, right? All of your focus and attention is on one thing, which is mastering sales, right? Which is perfect for a beginner, because you don't need to worry about anything else. You don't need to worry about back-end systems. You don't need to worry about advertising, marketing, personal branding, YouTube videos, editing, all of this kind of stuff. You don't need to worry about it, right? Whilst with high ticket sales, you just focus on one thing, you get really fucking good at it. And when you get good at it, then you make good money. And that's the same with absolutely any of these skills. From there, sales is a life skill, right? No matter what you do in your life, sales will hold you in good stead, right? If you can talk and hold conversation with someone and find out about someone's problems and help someone, like just having that skill in general, having that skill is going to be amazing, right? Fucking hell. No matter what you do, having the skill of sales is always going to be a net positive for you. There's literally no negatives to knowing how to sell, because it is the core and it's the backbone of any business, right? Thirdly is there's no startup cost to learning sales, right? You don't need to have 10 grand to invest into a product. All you need is your brain and effort. You put in the time and the effort to learn the skill, you get good at it, you make money from it, right? So there's no startup cost. So if you're not someone who has 50k saved, then this is a really, really good business model to have an in and to make money relatively quickly. Fourthly is you're rewarded based off your performance. Now, this might be a complete turn off to a lot of people because it kind of links with the whole pressure side of things. But for someone like myself who loves sport, loves competition, is very competitive, then you are rewarded based off your performance. So if you are fucking good at what you do and you put in the effort, then you'll get paid a shit ton of money, right? You don't get paid the standard hourly rate. You get paid for the work you put in, the time, the effort, everything, right? So if you're someone who doesn't like to be capped and doesn't like having a ceiling with the amount that they can earn, then this model is perfect for you, 100%. And then lastly is you can work from anywhere. And that's the same with a lot of these models, but you have the flexibility to work from anywhere. You can set your own schedule to an extent. People kind of like to say, oh yeah, high ticket sales, you can take 2 or 3 calls a day, then kick your feet up on the beach and have a cocktail. No, you can't do that. You're going to have to work hard. And I'm not saying that you're not going to with any of these models, as I've already said, but you can work from anywhere. So it does give you that flexibility, which is really good. Now, negatives of high ticket sales. Learning a skill is hard and it takes time. And if you don't, as I said at the start of the video, if you're not willing to put in the effort and the persistence, then you will not do well at any of these and you won't do well at sales either. It takes time. It's like anything. You have to put in the work. You have to eat shit for a bit before you get good, right? So that's one negative. Secondly, finding the best offers. You're sort of at the mercy of the marketing and the advertising. If you're on an offer and you're selling, yes, they bring leads to you and you close those leads. But if the marketing's shit and the advertising goes down, then the leads won't come, which means you're reliant on the business to making sure that it nails its marketing and its advertising. So again, you're a little bit at the mercy of things that are out of your control, right? But if you're on the right offer, which you should be, then you don't really need to worry about that. And then lastly is pressure. Look, if you don't perform, you don't get paid. That's just a simple truth with sales. It can be stressful. There can be days where you're like, shit, I need to close a deal. But that's part of it. That's just the game of sales, right? If don't get into this, if you're not someone who can handle some pressure, right? It is pressure. It's pressurizing. You have to perform to make money, right? And it's mostly in high ticket sales, all commission based. But for me, and maybe for you, that is a net positive. I like the idea of that. That's not a negative in my eyes. Cool. So that's high ticket sales. Next is e-commerce. Now, e-commerce, this could be lots of different things, from TikTok Shop to Amazon FBA to Shopify, like whatever it might be, selling a physical product online. So what are the positives of e-commerce? If you have a good budget, it's very, very scalable. Like genuinely, if you're someone who's got 100k saved, I wouldn't recommend getting into high ticket sales. I wouldn't. It's probably not the best option for you. You could keep it going and make a good, like, consistent amount of cash. And as I said, it's a good skill to learn. But if you have money there, you can invest into an e-commerce brand. And then from there, you can grow it very quickly. It's a very, very scalable model, right? And if you dial everything in with the ads and everything like that, then it can grow very, very quickly. Secondly is control, right? You are in full control, right? It's your product, it's your brand, it's your offering, it's your customer experience, right? So you're a lot more in control of what happens with the business. Whilst, as we talked about earlier with high ticket sales, you're a little bit at the mercy of other things. Negatives of e-commerce. Firstly, high competition. Companies like Amazon are selling their own variants of products. So that's one. So again, they're kind of just leaving you in the mud there. Chinese sellers are sourcing products for dirt cheap, selling them. Obviously, a lot of the time people go with price. I'm not saying there aren't brands out there that are doing really well that charge more. Of course there are. But as a beginner, it's pretty hard. And that links to the second point, which in my opinion is the most important. And one of the biggest problems that I faced when I started on Amazon is startup capital needed is pretty high. Right. When I started this, I did not have a good budget at all. Right. I was 19 years old. I didn't have, hundreds of thousands in the bank. Right. So it struggles. It takes time. And that links to the third point is scaling takes time, especially if you don't have a big budget. It can take up to 5 years to grow your e-com brand to get it to a point where you can properly, seriously make good money from it. Now, with high ticket sales, if we compare it, once you learn the skill, as I said, the ceiling's limitless, right? If you're on the right offer, you can make a shed load of money pretty quickly. Whilst with high ticket with ecom, it's harder, right? You need that capital to invest into ads to get it to more eyes, which is then going to be reinvested into the product. It means you can then buy more stock, right? It's a lot more of a complicated process in terms of scaling, right? So that's another negative. If you don't have a lot of money in the bank, I would not recommend ecom. That being said, if you earn a shit ton of money from high ticket sales, you could then pump that money into your own e-commerce brand, right? That's what a lot of people do. That's something that I'll probably consider doing later down the line. So that is also an option. So yeah, e-com, if you've got a good budget, great option. If your budget's not very big, then I would definitely not recommend it. Thirdly, is starting your own agency. So this is your own business, right? A marketing agency, a cold email agency. You probably heard lots of guys. Iman Gadzhi is massive on the whole agency front. So let's go into the positives and negatives, and because there's a few main ones, key ones that we need to go over. So firstly, positives. Right. Firstly, once an agency is up and running, it can be automated massively. I know a few guys in the agency space who have automated a lot of their business where the money just comes in and they don't really have to do a lot of work, which is great. Like, fair play to them to get to that point. So yeah, that's one positive. Secondly, you get all the money you make. Again, it's your business 100%. So with closing, as you've probably seen, you get 10% commission standard for every deal closed. Whilst with your agency, yes, you're going to be spending money on ads and things like that, and we'll get into that, but you get 100% of the sale. So if you close a deal for 3K, you make all of that money. That money is all yours. You don't just get a percentage. So that's definitely a net positive. Negatives, right? You are thrown in at the deep end. This is the biggest negative. If you don't have extremely good willpower, if you're not extremely dedicated to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, then you are going to struggle with starting an agency right off the bat, because the first year is eating shit to another level of eating shit. You have to learn marketing, you have to learn advertising, you have to learn back-end systems, client acquisition, fulfillment, how to actually fulfill on what you're saying, refunds, churn rate. There's so many things you need to learn. And look, it's great to learn all those things, but it's extremely hard to learn all of those things at once. Which is why I say to people, why not learn sales first, then start your own business? Because sales is such a key aspect of any business. Once you have one skill, then you can learn more. Which, look, I'll be transparent, that's what I'm doing. I've learned the skill of sales, and now I'm at a point where I'm starting my own business and I'm coaching other people because I've got that skill now, right? So look, you can start an agency. I just wouldn't recommend starting it straight away. I'd recommend you learn a skill that's key in having any business, which is sales, and then you can start an agency, and then you can make more money from it, right? So yeah, it's not something I'd recommend straight away. And it links to the second one. Like I said, it's extremely time consuming, right? You're learning everything straight out the bat, and you're also at the mercy of clients. If you get refunds because you don't really know what you're doing straight away, then you have to give that money back, right? It's tough. It's a tough world to get into. But people do well and people make good money. As I said, any of these work. So make your own judgment. This is just my opinion. And finally, is trading. So trading is an interesting one, right? Positives. There's a high return potential, right? People have invested a lot of money into crypto and made millions and quit their jobs and retired. Like, that's happened. And I'm sure you guys know that. But the likelihood of that happening, it's not very high, right? Secondly, is the flexibility. It's a great one. You can work from wherever you want, really whenever you want. Obviously, you still have to put in the work, as with any of these. The biggest the biggest kind of bullshit radar you see online nowadays is that, oh yeah, you can kick your feet up running your business and you don't have to do anything. No matter, any of these models require work and are going to require time and effort. And that's just a fact. And even trading requires time. Yes, you can automate things, but it's still going to require your time and your effort. Now, negatives, and this is the big, it's just so high risk, right? Most beginners lose money because they don't know what they're doing with trading. They think it's the easy option, trading, because, oh, you know, you don't really need to do much. You don't need to speak with clients, start a business. You can just make a shit ton of money. It's not as easy as it sounds. Oh my God. It's not as easy as it sounds. And trust me, I've tried it. I've lost money trading. I've lost money through crypto because I've thought, oh, I want to go the easy route. And look, there are traders out there who know what they're doing. They've learned graphs. And they make good money from it, and fair play to them. But in my experience, it's very, very hard. And secondly, that links to the second point, is there's no control. Everything's external. You are in zero control of what the market does. Yes, you can, plan as much as you want and read graphs, but look, let's be real. No one really has a fucking idea what they're doing with trading. No one can read a graph exactly to the point, which incurs a lot of emotional stress, and that is a big negative. Your money's on the line. Your money's on the line through trades. You're not 100% how it's going to work, right? It's stressful. It's very, very stressful. And I know a lot of people in the industry who are doing trading, and it's a very, very high stress thing to do. But yeah, as I said, it does work, like all of these things. So look, that's pretty much the nuts and the bolts of all of it. Now, in terms of a conclusion, and my conclusion, and you could probably guess what my conclusion is, I believe high ticket sales is the best for beginners. If you're new, if you don't have a lot of capital, if you don't really know how businesses work, then high ticket sales is perfect because you're learning one skill, you're honing in on that skill. You don't need tens of thousands to start making money through that skill. And look, as I said, it's not easy, but once you learn that skill, it's a skill for life, and you can then take that skill to then start your own thing. Look, you're not going to be in high ticket sales for the rest of your life, right? You can if you want to be, but I'm sure you have high aspirations. You probably want to start your own thing at some point, which is exactly what I've done, right? I've learned the skill, and now I'm at a point where I want to start my own thing, right? I want to start my own training. I want to have my own business, and you'll get to that point as well, right? And there's plenty of ways you could do that. You get the capital, you can then start your own e-com brand. You could start your own training brand. You start your own agency. Like all of these different ways is what you can do. I just would not recommend e-com straight away because you don't have the capital, and I wouldn't recommend an agency straight away because you don't have the skill set, right? You're going to have to learn everything all at once. So, and trading, again, I'm not going to kind of touch on trading. I think you can kind of guess my opinion on that. But yeah, in my opinion, high ticket sales is the best way to have an in the online space. And that's, again, just mainly due to the fact it's easier. You don't need a lot of capital. The skill, you're learning one skill. All your focus is on one thing, right? And then from there, you can then expand, and then you can go down other routes. But yeah, that is my opinion. As I've said, you don't need to listen to me if you don't want to. But this is me. This is everything I've done. I've been there. I've done it. I know what it is. If you're interested, if you want to find out more, I'm going to leave a link. You can book in a call with me, or you can drop me a message on Instagram, benpayne23. We can have a chat, and we can go from there. Hopefully this was useful. And if you have any questions, comment or let me know.